By far one of the biggest changes in Chapter 5 Season 2 are how they vaulted the 5 old medallions and added 4 new ones. Setting the stage, let's take a quick peek at our Season 2 hope that we had in one of our most recent videos. Another completely left field idea I had was medallions shouldn't all be the exact same. Make one of them act as they currently do, but then make another one do the same but for white heals and have it only work outside of the storm. You could have another one that gave you a 5% movement boost, another one that gave you a 5% damage buff, or a 5% defense boost on incoming bullets. I don't know, something unique that would make collecting all 5 feel like it built up to something and give you more than just more shield but faster. And luckily Epic apparently watches my channel. Thanks guys! So far, I haven't heard a lot discussing these in depth, so I'd like to do that today so you can know which medallions to choose and when, so you get the most out of their abilities while being tracked the least. Most of you know this already, but in case you are new, I play 95% zero build solos, so that's what the focus of this will be. The way you use these medallions in builds and team games is completely different, and I wouldn't rank them entirely how I do here. Some overlap, but not a ton. Let's start by giving the medallions a baseline number rating with which to work, using last season's medallions as an example. When this mechanic was introduced, one medallion would heal your shield from 0 to full, 3 HP if you held 1, 4 HP for 2, 5 for 3, 6 for 4, and then an HP regen for all 5 medallions you held. Your circle got smaller each time as it does now. Now, I don't know what Epic was thinking with this system, as it was obviously insanely busted and gave the people who were good enough to beat a mythic POI early on a huge advantage for the rest of the game. They were promptly nerfed into what we were left with for the remainder of the season, which left them a shell of their previous self. I stopped carrying them all together in zero builds, as they really weren't worth it unless you absolutely needed the heals. If I were to rate the medallions from 1 to 100, the very first incarnation of these would receive a perfect score. They were 100 out of 100. Absolutely busted and never should have existed. Their nerfed form I would give something like a 20 out of 100 to, as sometimes you really are down bad heals late game and need some shields. But that was about the only time I would go for these aside from opening a vault. So using the same scale, let's start off by giving a number rating to each of the new medallions, starting with Hades' aspect of Siphon. I think this is the single most overrated medallion for several reasons. Mainly, people are just excited to have some form of Siphon back in the game, which I think is great in practice, just not worth the trade-off of being tracked. Let's start off with the number one most glaring weakness with this medallion. Of all of them that have ever existed so far in this game, it is the only one that is literally 100% useless when you are down to 2 players. Its mechanic becomes obsolete and you are now letting yourself get tracked for no reason. Now at that point in the game, the zone is probably very small and it may not matter if it's your only medallion. However, if it's your 3rd or especially 4th, it could make a huge impact if you actually win the game. The second biggest thing I dislike about Siphon Medallion is that it basically forces you to be put in a bad situation to take advantage of it. You need to take damage or not have heals to give this any value. It is not a proactive medallion in that it gives you a benefit you can use at all times like the other 3. It is a reactive medallion in that it reacts to you being put in a less than ideal situation. It's a safety net for lack of better terms, and I personally don't feel like it's worth playing with something that in theory I shouldn't even need if I play well enough. So I choose to try and play better and take advantage of not being tracked, so I never take Aspect of Siphon, and I'm giving it a rating of 25 out of 100, as it can be useful in some niche situations, like if you want to do solo versus squads, or if you want to W key all game and you feel like it'll help you get more action being tracked and you'll be damaged more often, so you'll actually need the benefit. But it's just not for me at the moment. Next is Ares Medallion, Aspect of Combat. This is a solid medallion and serves its function well. It does have around a 5% boost in damage, but it's not consistent across the board, and I believe it varies from weapon to weapon. It does turn a gold sniper rifle into a 2 body shot kill, which is pretty crazy honestly. Overall, I don't have a ton to say about this one. I think it's good, fine, worth taking, but it definitely isn't as good as the 2 movement medallions we have left. Overall, I rank it a 60 out of 100. Worth taking, but I really won't go out of my way for it. I actually want to discuss what I believe to be the best medallion next, which I don't think there is much debate on, and that is Cerberus' Aspect of Agility. The entire underworld part of the map is very awesome, with the green river Styx water running through, granting underworld dashes. So being able to take this ability and regenerate 1 dash per 10 seconds gives you unmatched mobility versus everyone else in the lobby. I find this ability to be best used for 2 things, General's Reversal and combat. Moving with it is easy. I just use 1 dash at a time, so I always have 2 on me and 1 on constant cooldown. I do this so I feel like I'm always using my medallion and getting a constant value from its drawback of showing me on the map. I only use 1, however, in case something happens suddenly where I'm in a bad situation and need some quick movement to help me reposition. Quick note, be careful when shockwaving while having underdashes on deck, as a lot of people, myself included, tend to spam the jump button when we do a shock dash sprint, as it's the quickest way to get your correct input registered. The problem with this is it's very easy to cancel the effect of your shockwave with an underdash if you are just mashing the jump button mid-air. So just be careful when shocking. While it's not a super precise input, it just needs to be a little more exact now. On the same topic of misclicks, underdashes are very easy to activate by accident, quite similar to how it was when crash pads were in the game. I've basically adjusted the way that I play the game slightly to account for this, and as a result, I feel 100% ready for crash pads next time they are in the game. So how I used to jump and mantle was, I would jump, and then if I wanted to mantle, I would then press and hold the jump button again. Where now I simply jump and hold the button down the entire way through, and if I want to mantle, that command is already activated. This way I don't ever accidentally press mantle and get an underdash instead. This is probably something I should have been doing all along. I just never thought about it before, so if you aren't jumping and holding down the button the entire time, I'd recommend starting now, as it's helped me save dashes a ton. There have been a game or two where I don't have the Cerberus medallion, and I still take 3 dashes from the underworld and carry them the entire game, only using them on one of the last few players alive. Holding dashes for 10 plus minutes has been no problem for me since I started switching to this jump hold button method. So yeah, these dashes are amazing. They have the most versatility of any medallion currently, and honestly, if they wanted to nerf this one in some way, maybe longer cooldown on underdashes, that would make sense, and I wouldn't be mad. In its current state, I'm giving Aspect of Agility a 98 out of 100. I think it is the best medallion we have by far at the moment, but it doesn't beat having 100% of your shield regen every time you take damage, so I can't give it a full 100 out of 100 like I did with the OG medallion. I saved the most interesting and what I consider to be the most underrated medallion for last, and that is Zeus' Aspect of Speed. I'm a little shocked by the reception of this medallion, as it doesn't seem to be overwhelmingly positive. Personally, I absolutely love this thing. In terms of traversal, this thing will definitely get you further, faster than Aspect of Agility. It just doesn't really have the combat potential that Cerberus medallion offers, but that doesn't mean you can't use it in fights, as doing a sprint jump sends you very high, which is a nice angle for some shotgun headshots, and the run is very quick, which gets you in a pretty fast slide extremely quickly, which can also help in some close range situations when you're trying to throw off your opponent's aim. There isn't a ton to say about this medallion, as its mechanic isn't very deep. I just think it's very useful, and I'm really surprised when I see people leave this one behind. I've absolutely gone for Zeus the second most times, only because it's not quite as good as Cerberus. However, compared to the other two, I never really go for those, as I just don't think they're worth the effort of defeating a boss. I give Aspect of Speed a rating of 85 out of 100. It has great utility, negates fall damage during a sprint jump, and makes you extremely hard to hit when you are just running full speed. I am never leaving this medallion behind. Overall, I like these medallions a lot more than last season's. As I said in my prediction, it helps you build up to something and feels more like an enhanced version of yourself, rather than just a self-healing machine. My favorite combo by far is Cerberus and Zeus medallions together. I feel like I'm absolutely flying around the map, and I love it. You can sprint until your stamina runs out, then dash a couple times while it comes back, then sprint while your dashes come back, and just work off that forever. I will take the Ares medallion if I kill someone with it, but I rarely go and get it myself. I might start changing that though, so who knows. Once again, the Hades is always staying put. I just don't value it at all in zero build. That'll be it for today, everyone. If you made it this far, please drop a like, sub if you haven't, and share it with a friend if you know anyone who would like our content. We are still growing, and we'll take all the help we can get. Please comment below your thoughts on our current medallions, which are your favorites, and how do you feel about my opinions today. Thank you so much, love you all, and we will see you on the next one.